following podcast contains real stories and raw conversations from first responders and military personnel. Some topics may be graphic or triggering. The views expressed by the host and the guests are their own and do not represent any agency or organization. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Dispatch. We have a very exciting guest here today, one of my best friends, Kellen Zanandrie. Thank you for flying in, brother. At least it's on better terms this time from then me being shot in the face. For everyone that's listening, Kellen and I have served in the Coast Guard back in Chicago. It was like around like 2014.
Yeah.
That's when I first met this beautiful, beautiful bald-headed man. When I got shot, Kellen took the first flight out, even though he waited in the airport for a little bit.
All day. They kept canceling flights. So.
But he did it without hesitation. That's the kind of man you are, man. Kellen was born in Colorado. He joined the Coast Guard when he was 21 years old. Did 10 years active duty, bouncing from St. Petersburg to, was it St. Petersburg or St. Pete? Oh, St. Pete, sorry.
Yeah. St. Petersburg, St. Pete, same.
Same thing. All right. To Virginia, Bahrain, and back again. After that, he joined the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office while still serving in the Coast Guard Reserves.
Yeah.
Coast Guard for life, brother.
Ugh.
For 4 more years, while keeping people safe, he just did it in a different uniform. These days, Kellen and his amazing girlfriend, Kenzie, are running Paws on the ground training. They help dogs and their humans build trust and discipline, all while raising 3 beautiful daughters. And you guys have done a wonderful job. I know that firsthand.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming out, brother. It means a lot to me. Thank God it's on better terms this time.
Yeah, for real. Last time was scary. I was expecting to come see missing face and all the nonsense, but
A dead body.
yeah, but
That was a little messed up, but not too bad.
no, not too bad. Not near as bad. I didn't think you were gonna have a face.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't.
Right.
Alyssa was so busy; she wasn't able to get on the phone or anything, and I wasn't trying to bug her, so I was just expecting the worst and hoping for the best, and it turned out you were fine.
Yeah.
A big
I was just
baby
big
about
baby,
it, but you know,
Big prima donna over
yeah.
here.
No, my arm hurts.
Let me stay in the hospital for a week.
Will you suck out the blood from my throat?
Which you did actually quite a few times.
All night. Yeah. No.
Oh, buddy. What are you going to do?
Dude, with you, I don't know. You're impossible. But
Don't want to make it all about me.
always walking around with your ass out.
Well, let's touch on that subject a little bit, and then we'll move on. I feel like it's going to be a played out story after a while.
Yeah.
So Alyssa called you in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So I guess kind of to even go back before that. For some reason that night when I was working, I forget what I was doing the next day, but I was working a different shift. So I was getting off early that night. So usually I worked all through the night until like 6 a.m., right? Well, that night I got off at like 11 or 12, which was really weird. But I was talking to you just before the shooting happened.
Mm-hmm.
And because I had a flat tire. So I was sitting, I was sitting in a parking lot, just bullshitting with you on the phone. And then you were like, I got to go. And I think you said shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
And I didn't think anything of it. Right when you sent that, the tow truck guy came up to change my tire, and I had walked out of my car. And I didn't text you back, which is pretty normal for me. If anybody knows me, I'm terrible with phones.
Horrible.
I never call back. I never text. I'm awful. But when I got out of the car and I was like, now I need to say something. So I went back in and I texted you. I was like, be safe, something like that. Didn't think anything of it. Got my tire fixed. Went about the rest of my night, went home. And then it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I saw I had a missed call from Alyssa, which I was like, that's weird.
That's not good.
Yeah, no. Alyssa doesn't.
First of all, Alyssa never calls you.
Alyssa's not going to call me. If she's going to try to talk to me, it's going to be through text messages, and it's just going to be us making fun of you.
Right.
But that doesn't usually happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I ended up looking up at your location on my phone. And I was like, oh, he's in the middle of a field. I was like, who knows what he's doing? Didn't think anything of it. And then I wasn't going to call her back. And then my girlfriend, Kenzie, she was like, no, you need to call. I was like, you're right, I do. So I called back. and I don't think she answered. She ended up calling me back just a little bit after that, told me what happened. I was like, I'm coming right now. End of story. I'll see you in a few hours.
What's going through your mind?
Oh, it was awful because I just went through this with my corporal who got shot 2 months before.
Yeah.
But now it was hit home. Like, I was very close with my other
I
corporal.
was going to say you were extremely close with him.
Yeah, but not me and you close.
Right.
You know? So and again, I had no information. So I was just trying to stay calm, but freaking out at the same time. And I was like, I need to get up there. I need to get up there. And that's all I really was worried about.
Right.
Was just me getting up there. I don't know. I know I'm not going to be able to make anything better, but it'll be better for me if I'm there,
Right.
so I can know what's going on. So I got off the phone with Alyssa. I had Kenzie start booking me a flight. I was like, I don't care when it is, as long as I have enough time to get to the airport. Let's go. And I called my other corporal, and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. Sorry. It was a Great American Teach-a-thon or whatever. I had to go give seminar things for kids. Like I had to take my dog and we had to go do little shows and
Like a
talk
little
to all the
display,
kids.
yeah.
That's what it was. That's why I was getting off early. So I told him, I was like, don't care. See ya. Bye, kids. I'm going. I didn't ask. I just said I'm gone.
Right.
I was like, I'm hopping on a plane. Sorry. And luckily they're super understanding, great guys. So they didn't bat an eye at it.
Right. Go handle business.
Yeah, they're just like, go. Especially with it happening,
So
because
close
it just
to home
happened
for
to
them.
all of
Yeah.
us. They were like, oh my God, he's doing that again. Get out of here.
Yeah,
do
man.
whatever we can for you. So then, of course, I get to the airport. They cancel my flight. They cancel the next one. I end up like, I think I bought like 4 different plane tickets on 4 different airlines.
Oh, wow.
And just canceled the ones because they just kept canceling stuff for no reason.
Right.
It wasn't like there was bad weather or anything. They just kept canceling them. So I just bought one on like every airline I could
Right.
to get out. And then I just got refunds on them all later. But I ended up getting that. So I got to the airport at, I think I got the call at like 3 a.m. I was in the airport by 5.
Yeah.
And
wow.
But I didn't leave until like 6 that night. I just stayed in the airport.
Oh my
Just going from terminal to terminal to terminal,
Right.
trying to get on flights.
Sounds like your Colorado trip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a different story.
Yeah, that's a whole different one. Yeah.
So you finally made it to Chicago.
Got to Chicago, and I've been trying to think about it. I don't even know how I got from the airport. I don't know if somebody picked me up. That's all
Yeah.
a blur.
Probably
All
Uber.
a blur. I think I might have, because I know I wasn't gonna ask Alyssa to come get me or anything. I think I just got in a car, got
Right.
an Uber, got to the hospital, and it was just, luckily you were out of we knew you were okay at that point.
Yeah, heavily medicated.
Yeah. So, but then it all just turned, like, the whole hospital stay was just a blur.
Yeah.
Just a blur.
How was seeing my beautiful face?
I was extremely happy because you had a face. So that was good. And then it wasn't shortly after I got there that you started making jokes.
Yeah.
And that was like, okay. That was like the huge relief. I was like, okay, this dumbass is back. Like, we're okay.
We're good.
We're good. He's going to be able to get through it. So
Yeah, I remember you showing up. I can't remember if I was emotional though.
you were.
Yeah.
You were. Yeah. Because,
Start crying.
yeah. I mean, we both were.
That's
So.
a tough one, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't ever want to see your friend like that.
No, I didn't expect you to come. I think I remember Alyssa telling me like you were on your way.
Oh, there's no way I wouldn't have been.
No, 100%, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, you stayed at my house for a little bit. Luca threw Lincoln Logs at your face on the
Yeah.
couch,
It was a good morning wake up. Yeah.
which I don't know why you shouldn't give you. Like, we have a guest bedroom upstairs.
I didn't care. I think she probably offered it, and I was just like,
Exhausted.
yeah. Because we wouldn't have even come home if it was up to Alyssa.
Yeah,
I
I know that.
I was like forcing her. I was like, no, you have to go.
Yeah,
I was like, I think I told her, I was like, no, you're getting in the car with me. We're going, you're sleeping in your own bed. You're taking a shower. Like, and then I was like, I'll bring you back first thing in the morning, but you're going home and you're sleeping.
Yeah.
because you can't do anything for him. And she was a rock star.
Oh, killed it.
Oh, like I loved Alyssa from the second I met her, but seeing her through that, it brought a whole different
Viewpoint for
view
sure.
for me. Yeah, I mean, because she was just solid.
Oh
she,
God.
I mean, she like obviously she had her points where she'd get sad and emotional, but through all of it, she's just
Unwavering.
solid.
Yeah, she was unwavering for sure.
and I mean, she was handling everything.
Yep.
Everything.
Took it all in stride.
Yeah. So
Handling the medical portion, people coming in, people coming out, notifying people.
that's enough on its own, but then doing all the family and friends and all of that stuff too, like because everybody was going to her because nobody really had a good understanding, especially of all the medical stuff that was going on, and she's sitting there and explaining it to everybody and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the occupational therapy really kicked in for her.
yeah,
Which actually could put me at ease too, and I think it put everyone else at ease as well.
because she was able to explain it in a way that it kind of made sense to everybody instead of all that medical mumbo jumbo. I mean,
She really dumbed it down for everybody. She's like, okay, this is all in cursive. Let me write it out in crayon for you. I need to use a pretty color like red.
Yeah, I need a picture book, small words, lots of colors. Like, that's the only way you're getting through.
Slow, read it to me slow.
Yeah.
Make eye contact. Make sure I understand.
Yeah.
But so we'll move on from that. I do want to talk about like your Coast Guard career and stuff like that, but I want to kind of, since we already touched on your corporal, let's just kind of dive into that real quick before we go into your Coast Guard career. So you were a canine handler near the end of your career. At that time, you were a rock star. So Kellen's not going to tell you guys. I will tell you. After the Coast Guard, Kellen reached out to me. I was already a police officer at the time, and he was testing for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office and kind of just like bouncing like ideas back and forth. Like, all right, man, this is what you should expect, kind of XYZ. Kellen was a rock star, even though he was, held back a week in field training.
I was.
But I think it was a bullshit reason. We'll get to that later. But Kellen excelled. He killed it. This is just from the stories he told. This didn't come from his mouth. This is just my opinion of Kellen. Kellen's always been an extremely hard worker in the Coast Guard, out of the Coast Guard, with Pinellas County as a deputy, and then also with Paws on the ground. He's just a fucking grinder. So Kellen gave it his fucking all, and he just knocked it out of the park. Put in for the canine spot, got the canine spot, and then just flourished. You had your dog Drogo, him and Drogo, which they say Drogo was like one in a generation, but at the same time, I also think the canine handler had something to do with it. So Kellen,
all of his mess ups, yeah.
Kellen, became really attached to that dog, and they just fucking knocked it out of the park. And I mean, you were definitely a standout. I know all the guys talked about you very highly. I talked to Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
He talked highly of you.
Yeah,
they definitely held you to a high regard.
Thank you.
So
yeah.
you were a fucking stud, man. Still are.
It was a lot of work, but totally worth it. Just so kind of to hit on that. Again, it was a whole weird situation. I was going to be working a day that I wasn't supposed to be working. I was filling in on their section. So we had two different sections. Yeah. So we always had dogs on. So I was filling in on their side to help out because they were short somebody. I was usually a late dog, so I would go in later in the evening, stay until later in the morning. And so I had called my corporal about, again, it must be bad luck because I talked to both of you guys like 30 minutes before you guys got shot. But I called him and I asked him, I was like, hey, when do you want me to come in? I'm usually a late dog, but I'm helping you guys out, so what do you want? And he said, he wanted me to come in. I learned this a little bit later after I talked to him after he got shot. But he's like, I wanted you to come in and take over for my spot so I could start heading north so I could get home. Because he was in our very southern part, like the worst area that we have. So he was like, no, but you're helping us out. You come in late. When you get in, you can come and relieve me. So I was like, okay, cool. I go start getting my dog ready, start getting dressed. And then my phone starts blowing up from not even not anyone in law enforcement, nobody that I worked with. It was all outside family members of other people and stuff asking if I was okay. And I was like, what? Like, why are you guys asking me? And then I was like, whenever you get those text messages and stuff, I immediately go to my computer. I start looking for whatever call has everybody on it.
Your squad computer, so your the CAD system,
So I see, and it literally everyone is on this call. And all I see is officer down. And I saw, when I looked at it, the first person on the call was my corporal, his call sign. So I start freaking out. I'm like, oh God, this isn't good. I think I told Kenzie, I was like, get the dog in my car. I have to finish getting ready, and I'm booking it. My sergeant ended up calling me as I was driving, and he's like, get to the hospital now. Turned out it was a guy doing vehicle burglaries. Pretty routine call for us.
Yeah.
Matt, the corporal, he got there, got his dog out, started tracking. Another one of the sergeants came to track with him, and
he was also a canine hero at one point.
He was. Right? So, funny story about that is that sergeant who was a previous canine handler, he shouldn't have even been in the area. He was working his zone to the north. He saw that my corporal was going to be going on the call by himself. And we try not to do that as much as we possibly can. Yeah.
Officer safety.
Yeah. Does it happen that it did used to happen that we would go alone? But we try not to let it happen. Usually you'd get out 5-10 minutes and then somebody's there with you.
Absolutely.
So this sergeant shouldn't even have been in the area. Luckily he came down. He was also good friends with my corporal. So he comes down, starts running with him. They hop over a fence, through some backyards. They go to wrap around the house, and the guy was waiting there on the other side of the house, pointing a gun, not at dog level, at person level. And he hit my corporal 3 times. Once it went through, hit him in the throat, wrapped around out the back of his neck, got him in the forearm, which went straight through all the bones, everything, and then once through the thigh. The one that went through his neck dropped him right away.
Oh, absolutely.
So he falls down and ends up, we had all of for K9, we have our mics up on our shoulders. So when he fell, it hit the mic and it was cueing the mic. And when that happens, nobody else can talk. Yeah. So no one was able to get any information out that shots were fired. There was a officer down, nothing. Where they were, none of that was going out. Meanwhile, my corporal's dog did everything he was supposed to do. He goes and starts eating bad guy. Got him right in the ribs, just mowing on him, right? Then the sergeant, he got a little bit behind. He was trying to go through a gate, didn't open, jumped over the fence. But he was like, there's like, I think like 20, 30-second delay. Ended up saving his life because it allowed the dog to do what he was supposed to do. So the sergeant comes around, starts to bring his gun up. Bad guy fires a few rounds at him. He ducks, gets cover. And then Taco, the dog, switches from the ribs to the hand and gets him. So it allowed the sergeant back up to make his move and go and put rounds on target. Yeah. The bad guy was also took his gun from being pointed at the sergeant to the dog, so it allowed that time, that break, and they ended up putting like 3 holes in the guy's face.
Dropped him.
So
Taco saved.
Oh yeah, Taco's the main character in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did exactly what he's doing, and that was because of how well my corporal trains.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's an absolute stud. My corporal is like, he was. As soon as I got into the sheriff's office, I was like, I want to be him. Yeah, I want to be like him. He was my go-to person of like, I want to emulate him. I want to do everything he does. Because he's just a rock star, hard worker. Like, there's not a bad thing you can say about him. Right. So
definitely a grinder.
Yeah.
I would say it's safe to say, brother, if you weren't already there, you're pretty much damn near.
I mean, I tried. Like, that's who I was emulating. So absolutely. Anyways, once we get back to the hospital after he settles out because he survived. He's good. We had a long, hard talk, and he was like, he's like, I wanted like that. He was like, that was going to be you. He's like, I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if that was you.
Yeah.
If I didn't make that decision to have you go to come in later, he's like, if that was you, and I had a new dog at the time, so who knows if he would have done the correct thing. We hadn't been in that situation, and he was still new, so it's hard to say. I would like to say he would have done the right thing,
right?
But you never know.
Yeah,
you never
absolutely.
know. And with the height difference from the corporal and I, instead of getting shot in the neck, I'm getting shot in the face because he's taller than me. So who knows? Who knows what happens there? So that was a real like eye opener.
Yeah, man.
And then you ended up getting shot, so it was like double eye opener.
Yeah. Before we get to the end of that story, well, I guess we'll kind of transition, but before we start transitioning, how did you handle that mentally after your corporal was shot?
It's hard to say, just because even though it's so close, like that's not going to be me.
Yeah,
it can't happen to me. And I mean, how often? I mean, that call that he went on. We do that
standard,
day in, day out, all the time, and 99.9% of the time, that's a great call, because that guy isn't going and waiting behind a building with a gun ready. He's trying to go over that next fence.
Mm-hmm.
So your dog is just getting a whole mouthful of ass, like,
yeah.
And that's the end of it. Like,
no,
it's great. You get to cheer on your dog for taking the bad guy down,
good boy.
getting a good bite, and
that's a good boy.
and that's the end of it. So it was definitely strange, because like, even though it happened, you're like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen again. And then you got shot, so I was like, oh, it just happened again.
Yeah.
And then when the day I got back from seeing you, I go to work. Another one of my canine handler friends for a different agency, one very close, it's in my county. He got into a shooting. He was fine. Nothing bad there. And then it was the next night I get into a pursuit down into like the heart of St. Petersburg. We pit the guy like 7 different times, all good pits. He just kept driving out of them, and then ends up getting into a backyard. The helicopter's telling me that he's coming into the front yard and he has an AK. So I'm like, great. Now, and that was the huge kicker for me, because for the first time in my career, even though it was only for a split second, I thought to myself, what's going to happen if I get shot, and like, what's going to happen to my family?
Yeah.
How are they going to handle this? They
and that's
can't do
not
that.
the time to think about that.
No,
shit.
no, hell no. Not with a guy coming over the fence with an AK.
Fucking AK.
And I was like, because I didn't go, hey, I need to get behind this tree. I need to take cover. It was, what's going to happen to my family? And it was a split second.
Yeah.
But
sometimes that's all
it scared
takes.
me.
Yeah.
No, it scared me. And I was like, I've never done that before.
Yeah.
I've never had those thoughts go through my head. It's always game on, go. Where are my advantages? Where do I need to be moving? How am I going to protect me and the other guys? Not what's going to happen to my family when I get shot.
Right.
You know,
100%.
So that was my big, like, ta-da
moment for sure.
Shouldn't be doing this.
Word of advice: never bring a pistol to an AK fight.
Yeah,
brother.
right. And I didn't even have my dog out because it was for another agency. I was just helping their canine teams run. So that makes it even worse.
Right. Well, we'll get to the conclusion of that call later on in the podcast, but I want to transition into the Coast Guard. What made you want to become a puddle pirate?
A puddle pirate. Funny stories. When I was younger, I've always had good work ethic, but I was a shithead. Like, I always worked really hard, and I worked since I was like 14 years old.
Right.
Like, my mom was driving me to work. I was still playing sports and still finding a way to work.
Were you in lacrosse, or is it just football?
Lacrosse, football, and hockey.
And hockey.
But I was always kind of a shithead. Maybe as growing up in Colorado, I didn't necessarily like cops. I definitely didn't like the military. And then one day, one of my friends, he goes, "I'm joining the Coast Guard." I was like, "The fuck you are?" And so I went and did some research. Next thing I knew, I'm in boot camp. He's at home. So
He never went in, huh?
No, he ended up, he would have. He had some like childhood asthma. And this was
Oh.
when the Coast Guard was being very strict.
Yeah.
So they didn't let him in.
What year was this?
08, 09. I want to say I graduated boot camp in 09.
Okay.
In 09. So after doing all the research, I was like, this is, and especially the Coast Guard, because I was like, I don't want to go overseas. I don't want to get shot at. I ended up going overseas anyways, but that was originally when I was doing it, I was like, that's not what I want to do.
Right.
So once I did the research, I was like, I want to go drive boats. That's what I want to do. And good decision, great decision, life-changing decision.
No, absolutely.
Because it got me from being that shithead with a good work ethic to a decent person with a good work ethic.
Slash it.
Yeah. So I try to be decent at least. So
Oh, buddy. So where was your first unit at?
luckily I got super lucky. I was on a 87-foot cutter down to St. Petersburg. So it's the smallest like cutter that they have, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we could only be out for 3 days before we needed fuel and food. So it wasn't months out at sea or anything like that. And then it was down in St. Pete. So we were going down to Key West and doing that kind of stuff, doing a lot of migrant interdiction, drugs, migrants, that kind of stuff. And then most of the time, like we were anchoring up a few miles offshore, sending our small boat in and doing like small wreck boardings.
Yeah.
Making sure everybody had all the proper safety equipment and that kind of stuff. And when I was brand new, like that was the most fun stuff to do.
Oh,
I just got to
absolutely.
drive a little boat around and
Port
that was
calls in
it.
Key
Yeah.
West. Yeah, it was a great
Yeah.
time.
so it was great. So yeah, I started in St. Pete. Then I went to Virginia for a little while until I got my rating. Then when I actually could drive boats,
You're a bosun mate.
Bosun-mate, and then went to Chicago, where I met your wonderful self.
That's when your whole life turned around.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a great time in Chicago.
I did. A lot of good friends from Chicago.
You also got yourself into some trouble with your BM1s.
Oh, well, yeah. I again, so part of that, me being a shithead, is I'm not afraid to speak my mind.
Kellen
So,
doesn't know when to shut his fucking mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
For those of you that don't know.
It wasn't just Chicago I got in trouble for that for either, so.
Followed him out through his career. So that's when we became really close.
Yes.
Kellen was actually my sponsor when I was leaving Charleston from my 378 cutter. We did drug interdiction in the Caribbean, and Kellen was actually my sponsor. They sent it over to me, and I call him. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm actually a fireman, like I'm an engineer. I'm not a seaman." He's like, "Oh, man, all right, yeah." So then you just switched me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I guess I wonder where my life would have been if you were my sponsor.
You know, probably a little bit better.
I thought probably a little worse. I probably would have gotten negative page 7s
No.
or masted.
Oh, well, maybe. We would have gotten in some trouble, but.
So you were there from, or I went there in 14. That's when you and I met. But then
Yeah.
you left in 16. So you were transferring out. You put in for Bahrain, which is the overseas units for the Coast Guard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were selected. So I think the last 6 months of 2016-ish, you were kind of in and out for trainings.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
Whether it's for appointments or and the training was like 4 months long of where we're going a bunch of different places.
Did you go to Blackwater?
Yeah.
You did a lot of
pre-deployment.
Yeah, you did a lot of work at Blackwater, right?
Yeah.
Range time, all
Yeah,
that
shoot
stuff.
houses, all that kind of stuff.
How
So-
was that?
Oh, it was awesome. It was cold.
Yeah.
But, it was so much fun.
I love shoot houses.
Oh yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, I went to Mid-South for SWAT, and it's actually exhilarating.
Well, and that was really cool too because we were getting all this equipment that you don't normally get in
In the Coast Guard,
in the
right?
Coast Guard. So, and it was all the camos, and I wasn't stuck in the stupid blue.
Or was it
Navy
the multi-cam,
blue.
right?
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's same as the Navy uniforms.
Right.
So, but it was just a ton of fun. It was a whole new experience, especially because like growing up in Colorado, like I didn't didn't go anywhere really.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to like meet all these people and go through all these trainings and stuff that
Right.
I never thought I was going to be able to do. Like, it was always fun, but
Yeah,
never
absolutely.
thought I was going to be able to do it.
Was that live shoot houses, or were that you guys using sim rounds?
Sim rounds.
Sims.
Yeah. No, they're not going to trust the Puddle Pirates to do live shoot houses. let's be honest.
I'll tell you what, dude. It makes you slow down a lot. Live shoot houses.
I wouldn't have wanted to do a live shoot house with.
I was nervous about it, but actually afterwards, I was like, "This is fucking sick."
I'd have to have a select team of people.
100%.
Those guys are
No, not even close.
especially not when we're just meeting each other.
Not even
'Cause
close.
That's literally when I met a lot of the people I was going overseas with. That was when I met them. It wasn't like we were going through all this training beforehand. So we met there.
Yeah.
And then
I'll tell you one thing, man. Like, knowing the people that I know in the Coast Guard that I served with, there's probably like maybe a select few people that I would want to be in a live shoot house with, and it's very slim.
yeah,
Because everyone else is great people, but also scary.
Yeah.
Very scary. So you were overseas for what, a year?
Yep. 1 year.
What was your guys' mission?
We were doing same stuff as here. We were doing, there was a lot of deterrence.
Mhm.
Then migrant, drugs, guns, but a lot of deterrence. Just going in the Persian Gulf and making sure that Iran is sticking to their own waters and not causing problems, which they like to do. So,
So at that point in time, you guys weren't even under. You guys were under the Coast Guard, yes, but you weren't budget wise. You guys were operating with the Navy, right?
oh yeah,
So you guys had
I think
fucking funds, huh?
my captain, it was a lieutenant, captain of the boat.
Yeah.
He told me, he goes, we need a new lens for our camera. I was like, okay. They're like, what are you looking for? He goes, I want to be able to see everything. I spent $15,000 on a camera lens.
Oh.
I shit you not, from like 3 miles away, I could read a book on their boat.
Really?
It was wild.
What were you guys doing with that camera? Be honest.
Oh, dude. Well, you just snoop.
Oh
You snoop. But, well, it also came in super handy because there's so many warships out there. And you can't, when they're, 8 miles away, you can't see
No.
who they are. It's just a big gray
Blob.
boat.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is that? Who is that? Are they going to come shoot us? Are they friendly? Like, you don't know. And so it's always just this, like, being on watch and driving the boat up there was the most nerve-wracking time. I hated it.
Oh, I believe it.
I was miserable. I hated going to watch because you never know what's going to happen. And so you're calling like general quarters and getting everybody on the 50 cals and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, it's a friendly.
Really?
Yeah. And you're like, well, I can't see. They're not pinging on anything on radar. It's just a blob. So
Right.
I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And you're going to be better safe than sorry.
No,
So
100%.
God,
I bet that new camera helped out though.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. That's what it was for. Like, at least I could see something.
Right. Exactly.
God, but it was so nerve-wracking. God, I still remember my last watch before I was transferring out. I had to do, it's Farsi Island. It's this little island in the middle of the Persian Gulf, but it's owned by Iran. So Iran's over here. The island is like to the west, but Iran owns it, so it's controlled there. So you have to stay out of their waters. Otherwise, it's war, right? So, but it bottlenecks you. So you have like Iranian waters to the north of you, Iranian waters to the south of you, and it's a very small window that you can go through. Well, when I was getting on watch, my captain goes, hey, the carrier group is going to be changing out while you're on shift.
Of course.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Not a huge deal. You can see them coming from a mile, like from forever far away.
Yeah.
Because there's like 75 boats, and then the carrier, which takes up your whole radar screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, I see them about an hour into my watch, but they are like way far away. But they go like 60 knots. Those carriers just fly.
Yeah, they cruise.
So, of course, next thing I know, they're and we are supposed to keep like, I forget what the distance was. It was like 50 miles away. Well, there isn't a 50-mile
In that
split
area.
in that area, and that's where they passed us. So I'm like, I'm calling my captain. I'm freaking out. I'm like, the carrier group's coming. We can't stay away from them. There's a Iranian island down here. There's Iran up there. Like, what am I gonna do? But it all ended up working out. But that was my last shift. I shit blood for like a week after that.
Talk about nerve wracking.
Yeah, it was miserable, and all the local like fishermen out there, down at like in the United States and stuff, there's rules when you're out on a boat,
Mhm.
right? So there isn't.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care if you're a military boat. They will cross your bow at 10 feet
Oh,
with
yeah.
200 yards of fishing gear out that you'll just drive through.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't care. None of them have lights on their boats. There's fires going on all of them and
So
stuff.
Wild
Like
West.
it is. It's just crazy. And we call them Dow clouds, but there's like 300 of them.
Yeah.
And these aren't small boats. They're, I want to say they're like 60 feet long at least.
Decent size, yeah.
Yeah, like big fishing boats. So it was just chaos 24/7 there.
Oh, dude, I can only
I
imagine.
hated being on watch. It was just so stressful all the time.
And you were on a 110, right?
Yeah.
What was the max speed on that? You guys couldn't go 60 knots. You're probably like max of 30.
No, not even. I think it was like 12 with both engines running. Like
Screaming.
it was nothing, dude. It had to have been more than 12. I think it was like 20.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was about 20.
That's why you guys needed 50 miles.
Yeah. It was miserable.
So you were stationed in Bahrain.
Yeah.
I know you had gotten a few tattoos over there from a tattoo artist, which is
Yeah,
crazy. I
yeah.
remember you telling me.
I got my whole top of my arm done.
Yeah, I remember you had to tell me because they weren't allowed to do tattoos over there.
It was the tattoo artist is a guy from the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
and it's illegal in Bahrain, but we all have curfews there, so his schedule is booked from the time we are allowed to have like be out on town until we have to be back home, and he is booked solid for months.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me like you would have to buy him like material, ink,
Yeah, we would
needles.
buy all of it, and then like that was how we paid him. It was like he'd give us a list of stuff he needed, and we would buy it on Amazon and get it shipped to us, and we'd bring it over to the tattoo appointment, and then
Let's go, baby.
yeah, it was awesome. It's probably the scariest place I've ever gotten a tattoo. I walked into the bathroom. There's water coming from the light fixtures, cockroaches going.
That's all normal, baby.
But I was like, hey, I know this stuff's clean. I just bought it for him, so.
At least you could Hep C,
Yeah.
so that's good news.
And I didn't have any issues. Actually, one of the best tattoos I have. So,
You pay extra for that. So then you got back stateside. Where were you stationed then?
I went the whole reason I went to Bahrain was so I could have a pick on where I went. So I came back to Florida, and then I was able to work on a buoy tender there. So
Appleby, right?
yeah, complete change of work.
Oh, huge. It's a completely different mission.
Yeah, I went from doing all the like law enforcement, interdiction, that kind of stuff to not even looking at a gun, just working aids to navigation for all the major portways and stuff like that. We were hauling buoys and scraping barnacles and the best work.
Right.
Best work. I had never had more fun in the Coast Guard
No shit.
than doing that. It's I like the grunt work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just and you know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah, so you know I'm waking up at 6 o'clock. I'm going to start working buoys by 7, and we are not stopping until it is sunset.
Yeah, let's go.
So
But you guys like, I remember, I've never been at a buoy tender, but like from what I've heard, it's like work hard, play hard
yeah,
type thing.
oh yeah,
And that's what you guys did. I know
Yeah.
that for a fact.
yeah. Oh, and the good thing with the buoy tenders is you're working the aids and navigation, so they're not far away.
Mm-hmm.
They're all right close to shore, so you've got a lot of cool port calls. And,
the best
and
port
that kind of
calls.
stuff. Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in Key West.
Yeah. So it was a ton of fun. I loved it.
The Key West port calls are always just a shit show, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's always like a little bit a different type, even from like being in like Panama or Honduras.
Mhm.
It's I don't know how I want to call it, just like a blackout.
100% every time. You don't remember what you did that night.
Not a chance. I remember I was mess cooking when we did a port call on the way back, and I took everyone's mess cook too. so that when I got back, I could go on leave.
Yeah.
And my dumbass decided to go out for the night and just got obliterated. I remember the FS2, I think his name was Branch. Fucking great dude. Comes to my rack. He's like, buddy, you were supposed to be mess cooking like 3 hours ago. He's like, I need you to get out of bed. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, am I in trouble? He's like, no, dude, you're good. I covered for you. I'm like, oh, thanks, Branch. You're the man. But just still woke up hammered still.
Oh yeah. And
Still hammered.
Now you got your head deep in the sink with
Sweating it out.
scalding hot water.
It's like 100 degrees outside,
yeah.
and it's like 1,000 degrees inside the boat.
And wet.
Wet.
Wet because you're in the scullery just dying.
Sweating out your demons, baby. So after the Applebee,
Why don't we take a quick break?
quick break. Cool. All right, so we're back from break.
Yeah.
So you transitioned out of the Coast Guard. You stayed into the reserves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coast Guard reserves. You did that for about 4 years ish.
Yeah. Nothing real special. At that point, my heart was pretty much out of it.
Yeah.
I was just trying to go for the benefits, and I got to the point where it just wasn't worth it.
Right.
Especially once I had my business that I have now, it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
It was taken away from my business, and so
No, absolutely.
did that for like 4 years, but that's about it.
Yeah, so you want to focus more on your profession as
Yeah.
a canine handler
Yeah.
or in the sheriff's office, and then your paws on the ground.
Yeah.
So, and with the Pinellas Sheriff's Office, what's one memorable call that's like really sticking out to you?
So there's definitely my first catch as a canine handler wasn't pretty, wasn't great, but it was
Still
like,
a big time.
Yeah, for me it was great. It was just another vehicle burglary. Go figure. But then, like I was saying, usually we had a backup handler running with you and all of that.
Right.
So happened that mine was, 30 minutes away, was trying to get to me. I got out, started tracking the guy, and like I said, it wasn't pretty. We were all over the place, going the wrong ways, but it was super nice for us because we were able to learn from it. Like I was picking up on his indicators. I'm like, nope, this is the wrong way, because there's a huge learning curve there where it's a matter of trusting my dog, but also picking up on the indicators of where he's just going because he wants to do the right thing. So he's just trying to find something.
Right.
So
Because he's working for that reward.
yeah, and like it was our first real live track, so not a training track where we know where it's going or
Right.
we have somebody kind of in our back pocket telling us where to go. So we were figuring it out together, and I think we passed a turn that was pretty quick into that. Like the track should have been really short. Should have been maybe a few hundred yards. I turned it into like a mile.
Because your fault or dog's fault?
Mine,
You were-
most likely.
you were
Yeah,
amped
most
up.
likely mine. He probably gave me the indicators and I just missed them. And then I was just checking other stuff, but I was doing my due diligence. I was checking the boxes, making sure. So by the time I got to where the guy actually turned, it was my last spot to check. And right at that point, my backup handler finally got there. And I was like, this is my last spot to check. If it's not here, I don't know where it is. We hit it. We go on a track down this fence line, and it goes into a like homeless encampment where we know that there's just homeless people there.
Yeah.
And so that's really hard because you don't want your dog just to start nuking people.
Right.
And now I'm second guessing myself. Is he just smelling these other people?
Yeah.
So turns out I made one announcement when we started entering that encampment because I didn't want my dog to bite somebody.
Right.
On the fence that we were just running on, or on the other side of it, I hear, I give up. My hands are up. I give up. And I was like, well, I couldn't even see the guy. Couldn't even see him. There was overgrowth on the fence. Like I could not see through the fence. There was barbed wire all up on top. What he ended up doing is he went down to like the river and then looped around, made a U-turn, and he was right there. But that announcement, my dog found the way there. And then we just had somebody jump over the fence and grab the guy. But it was cool for us because I was like, that was when I was like, we're putting it together.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty,
It's starting to click.
but we're getting it. We're getting it. And that's how my dog was the best but dumbest dog. Like
Yeah.
he took forever to learn anything. So we had to put in a ton of extra work on everything. But once he got it, he got it. So it kind of just summed up my career with him was, hey, this is going to be difficult, but we're going to get through it. So
Right.
that one was a lot of fun. My best call though was it was a home burglary. There was like 4 guys that were caught in a house. They got out of the house, got into a car, and started fleeing the car. Ended up going down to a dead end, which went into a creek. They jump out of the car, go down the creek. I get the dog out. We're going through backyards all along this creek, and then my dog tries to jump into the creek. Thank God I stopped him because it was only like a 3-foot fence. It was a really short one, but there was a huge drop off on the other side.
Oh, fuck.
It literally dropped like 10 feet, and it was filled with rebar for some reason. I don't know if people are just tossing stuff back there, but it was just rebar everywhere.
Right.
I was like, he would have been impaled. Thank
100%.
God I stopped him. So after we climb down, get through that rebar, I think my dog was 90 pounds. He's a big German
boy.
Shepherd. So I'm sitting here like trying to get him over trees and without messing him up. We get into the creek and he hates the water. That's how I knew we were on it, was because he was in the water. And we were like swimming, tracking. And I was like, he would not go in the water if he didn't have to. So I'm like, we're on this. We're good. We're going. We tracked about 1.5 miles through thick water. And there's crocodiles. There's
Snakes.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
and
no,
we're
thank
in
you.
mangroves and all this stuff. And we're going and we're going. Finally, we get into this clearing, or what I think is a clearing. And then I just start sinking. Just sinking into mud. And I've got my gun belt. I've got all this stuff on. As I'm sinking, we see the guy in front of us laying down. And so he's not sinking because he's spread out in the mud.
Yeah.
So he's not sinking, but I am sinking.
What a shit show.
And I'm challenging the guy. Like, he's putting his hands behind his back. He's doing everything. But I am now up to my nipples in mud.
Oh, God.
I could not get out. I was so scared. And I'm like, there's water all around me. I have a bad guy in front of me that we thought had guns, or like we thought he took guns or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have no idea what's going on. My backup's going in, getting him detained and all that, and I'm stuck. My dog literally pulled me out. I could not get
Drogo
out.
saved
Yeah.
your ass,
I
dude.
grabbed onto his harness and I just told him to go, and he pulled me all the way out.
Wow.
But I was going, like, I was up to my nipples, but I was going deeper.
You're like in quicksand, dude.
It was the scariest thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So luckily he pulled me out. The armorer was not too happy
I was
with
going to say
me.
your gear had been fucked, dude.
I got all new stuff. The armorer was like, he's like, you literally had trees inside of your gun. I was like, sorry.
You're lucky that dude didn't have a gun and
Yeah.
try to shoot it.
Yeah.
There's no way you were returning fire.
Yeah. So that was like one of my most fun calls, just because it was one of those bonding experiences with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Because he saved your fucking life.
Yeah. So that was a cool one.
Fucking Drogo. Badass.
Yeah. That was fun.
What about, so there's a call in particular that I'm thinking of that I remember you telling me about. It was actually one of those calls that like make your butthole pucker.
Yeah. That was before I got into the canine unit. It started off as a domestic violence call. And back then, the guy that I was working with, we always got into trouble. I mean, it didn't matter who we talked to. They wanted to fight us, or they were running, or they were stealing cars. Like, something always happened with this guy. We had this like black cloud of just something's going to go wrong around us. So came out as a domestic. We didn't think anything of it. It was just a normal call.
Was this a SWAT sniper?
No, he ended up coming. That was
Right.
that was,
Oh, okay.
that
I
was
didn't
one of my
know. Okay.
corporals. But anyways, we get to this call. We start doing our investigation like normal, and turns out this guy that they had on their Ring camera, he ended up ripping there's the lady's 16-year-old son out of the. No, I take it back. He ripped her out of the house by her hair into the front yard, throws her down. The 16-year-old kid comes and tries to help his mom because she's getting beat on, and he punches the kid right in the face.
Oh.
So we're like, we got charges here, all good. Turned out he actually came back earlier in the day because she had pocket dialed him. That's what started all of this, was a butt dial.
Yeah.
Because they had broken up her and this guy.
Yeah.
Of course I hit that. They had broken up and she pocket dials him. He gets pissed off. So he comes to the house and starts threatening her. And was said and she was like, he has a gun on him all the time. And he kept saying stuff like, you're going to get the cops involved and they're going to make bad things happen. And this is all because of you, that this stuff is going to happen. Never alluded to, I'm going to start shooting people or they're going to shoot me. But that's what he was meaning by it. So once we saw that stuff, we got our sergeant and the corporal in and we're like, hey, we were going to need some backup on this. Like, we need to figure this out. While we were figuring all that out, then she comes and tells us that he literally lives a street away.
Oh, shit.
So now he is right here, right by us, and we had no idea. So we go over and just kind of start looking at the house from a distance. He has cameras all up on his house because she said he's kind of loopy. And he always has guns. So we're like, crap. So we make this plan up. My corporal at the time, he was a sniper for our SWAT team. He wasn't anymore, but he's like known as like the best shot in the agency. He wins a ton of shooting challenges and competitions. So he posts up across the house in some bushes across the street. My sergeant, my buddy, and I, we go to the south of the house, and our plan was that we were going to go up to this alleyway, call him, see if we could get him out while the corporal could have eyes on him. And then we had shields and all that kind of stuff, just in case he had a gun out. As we're calling him, he comes out of the house, gets into the car, and is about to start driving away. So my corporal runs up, and this is all, we kind of hear stuff on the radio, but there was just so much going on. We couldn't really hear what was actually being said because he's running as well.
Yeah.
So we all start booking it. And I was already less than lethal, so I had my taser out. I was just as a backup, just in case. As we're running up to the car, we just hear gunshots because he had a fully automatic rifle. So it's just gunshots. I put away my taser, which I thought took me forever. Going back and looking at the videos, like it was like the best weapon swap I've ever had, and it felt like it took 3 years.
It's the adrenaline jump,
yeah. Because I ended up
dump.
After all of it, I ended up apologizing to my corporal who just got into the shooting, like apologizing to him. I was like, I was so slow, I wasn't there. Like, my bad. I was trying, and he's like, we looked at it all. He's like, bro, you couldn't have done anything better.
Right.
Like, you did everything you could. But anyways, my corporal moves up onto the car. What ended up happening is the guy saw my corporal coming, starts digging into the glove box. Then
bad move.
Yeah, pulls out a gun. My corporal open fire. The guy was bringing it to him, right? Because they was right at the driver's side window. Yeah. So he starts bringing the gun to point it at him.
Body, yeah.
But he had 16 rounds in him at that point. And so he got one round off into the ceiling and then dropped it and then was dead.
Comatose.
Yeah. We didn't know. Like, when all that stuff's going on, like, we saw blood squirting out.
Yeah.
And it was just.
Because when you approach the car, right?
Yeah. I approached the car from the back, and then I went to go take a position next to my corporal just in case he had to weapon swap, whatever. Malfunctions like that. I was coming to back him up. And so I'm looking at the guy, I have my gun on him, and blood is just going everywhere. So once things calm down, that's when we're like, okay, we need to get him out. We need to start helping. Aid. Yeah. But he was already dead.
Yeah. I remember you telling me the story. You said when you grabbed him, you grabbed his forearm and you said your hands like went in his body.
Oh, yeah. Because he was a big guy. He's like 300 pounds. And with the way that he got shot, it went from his legs all the way up his body. So his arm was just like Swiss cheese. Like, when I pulled it, the only thing connecting it was skin.
Oh,
the bullets ran through all of his connecting tissues and all that. So I ended up moving like where I was grabbing him. Like I said, he's 300 pounds. So and his head kept getting caught on the pillar,
Right.
the B pillar. So I kind of grabbed his head, tucked it, and then he just slumped out.
Was he conscious at the time or no?
No,
He was gone.
No. And even then I'm like putting tourniquets on and I go to wrench it down and then I just see another hole right above it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
move it up. When we were doing CPR, my fingers are literally just going into holes
Yeah.
in his chest. So,
Well, I mean, that's your job. You have
We're
to do
gonna
everything
try.
possible to try and save him. Yeah.
yeah.
So before we transition out of the sheriff's office, how did calls like that kind of play on your mental psyche?
Back then, again, you kind of make your jokes and like that's kind of, for me, that's how I dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
It never really got to me. I don't think like I never was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't want to go to work or I feel bad. It wasn't that, but I also had a good group of guys that we could,
Talk
joke,
to.
joke around with. So it was like, we were still talking about it. And when through debriefs and all of that, for me, that was my outlet.
Yeah.
Like knowing that I did everything I could in those situations and that if I didn't do what I was supposed to do or I could have done something better, that they were going to be telling me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was like my way of dealing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So for like people that are not in this realm of like first responders, vets, all that stuff, dark humor is huge for us. And you talk to any cop, any firefighter, anyone that works in the hospitals, ER, surgical, stuff like that. You have like a dark sense of humor. And when he says jokes, we're not joking, making fun of the person.
Yeah.
You're joking because it's a way of like coping with the situation. And it's like one of those things like if you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah.
And that stuff can break you after a while.
Well, it's hard because we become numb to all of this stuff too. Because especially because I knew I wanted to get in the canine unit, I was putting myself in the areas that were the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
So every day was
You try and produce
because you need numbers. You need
arrests,
and you need people
quality,
need to see that you're going to work.
Not like expired DL. It's driver's license. You need quality drug, guns, stuff like that.
People running in cars, calls that are going to get the canine unit out there.
Right.
That's what I was trying to get.
Right.
So I'm going and looking for that stuff. But because I was looking for that, I was always in the worst areas.
Yeah.
And so you deal with everybody at their worst times.
100%.
But it's all day, every day.
Yep.
And if as hard as it is if you have if you care and you show emotion towards everybody, you're drained. You can't do it.
There's no
you
way.
physically cannot show everybody that you care all the time. Like, yes, you
have to shut that portion of your brain off.
Yes, I care and I'm going to help you through the problem, but I'm not going to be emotionally available for you for every call, everything.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, exactly. Because it's not physically possible.
No.
It's not emotionally possible. You'd burn out.
Yeah.
You'd burn out extremely fast. Gary, do you have something to say?
We're past it. It's all good. Keep going.
So, and I mean, and when you're doing that for so long, you bring it home too.
100%.
Where you're just, because I noticed it a lot with the family life where I was numb towards them.
Oh,
not on purpose. It's just, hey, whatever normal.
It's that fight or flight
routine thing that they're worked up about, and you're just like, well, you're not getting shot at, and
right, you're not bleeding, you're not dying,
so it's not a big deal.
Right, exactly.
We can worry about the laundry later, whatever it is,
But to them, that it is
big.
Yes, it's big for them,
and you do become numb to it. So it's like whatever.
No, 100%.
That was for me, like getting out. I'm gonna kind of jump on this, but when I got out, that was like the biggest thing I learned about myself and things that I saw when I was in.
That you didn't like about yourself?
Yeah, that I didn't even know was happening.
Yeah, I
had no idea. I didn't, because it completely changed my personality of when I was working, and I didn't notice it then. People had told me, but I didn't realize it.
Yeah, and when they bring it to your attention, you don't really take it into consideration. Yeah. You're like, no, it's just who I am. Like, why are you making this a big deal?
Yeah. Well, and I was like, it can't be affecting me too much. Look at the progress I'm making.
Yes.
I'm literally accomplishing all of my goals, so it can't be that
bad. But at what cost?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it was. So talking about getting out, what made you get out of the sheriff's office?
You.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know if I ever told you that, but yeah, Part of me,
Shit, I ended my career and your career.
right? Part of me knew of how hard of a decision it was going to be for you. And I was like, well, I know how hard of a decision it's going to be for me as well. Why don't we do it together? Because I didn't want you to go back. As weird as that is, and how many people I know that have been shot and go through this stuff all the time, maybe because I love you so much that I was like, I don't want him to go back.
Yeah.
I don't want him to. And if you did, I was like, yeah, you can do it. He's going to be great.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to. So I was like, maybe.
Let's clear the record. He could not do it.
You're right.
Yeah, there's no way you could go back.
No.
Oh,
But,
no.
I mean,
at the
yeah.
time, no. Yeah. So
At the time.
I didn't know, and I couldn't go back for like a year.
Yeah.
I was dead set on going back 100%. But I remember, actually, I think we had
this was before you even
found out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we had that conversation.
Did we?
I think you called me or you texted me or
Probably
you and
could've.
Alyssa had that conversation.
Yeah, maybe.
Of you didn't want me to go back.
Yeah, because I definitely talked to her about it, because that was a big point of contention while you were still in the hospital, was because obviously your family was like, no, he can't go back. I was like, I agree, but he has to make that decision.
No, I remember you saying that.
That can't be a decision that you guys put on him, because that will be something then he'll have. There's always that doubt of, hey, yeah, I'm doing this for my family, but is it something I really want to do? So I was like, you guys have to stop talking to him about it. Like, if you're going to do anything for him, please stop talking to him about it. Let him figure that out. He's smart. He's going to get it.
Yeah.
He's going to make the right call.
No, I remember my family talking about it. They still probably talk about it to this day.
Yeah.
And they mention you by name. Like, that's what you said. 100%.
Yeah. It helps because I had just dealt with this with
Yeah.
my corporal. So I was like, I did have some leeway or knowledge in there.
So then after I got shot, that's kind of like what planned it. And then I remember too, going back into the episode when you originally talked about the gentleman with the AK coming over the fence. And that's when you had that, you were like,
Yeah.
at that point, that's when you knew you were fucking done.
So I blamed you for it, but you were just a big turning point or a big factor in me making the decision.
Yeah.
Another huge one was my girls.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, they didn't know my corporal, so him getting shot didn't really affect them. It did, but not
Right.
They knew. They know you. They love you.
Yeah.
So they started asking me why I was still doing the job that I was doing. And I was like, well, because I love it. That's all
You
I
didn't
had.
have an answer, yeah.
I was doing the dog training stuff on the side, so it wasn't. The money was not the thing keeping me in.
We could set that record straight of like, in different states, and I'm sure people know this, that law enforcement do not get compensated the way they should be compensated, and Florida is one of those states.
Well, and I'm not even knocking the pay that we were getting. I wasn't complaining about that.
Well, it's not worth risking your life.
Exactly. And I was making more money on the side, working a quarter of the time with the dog training stuff. So, like I said, money wasn't what was keeping me doing the job. It was the passion. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no better like feeling than going chasing down a bad guy with your dog and going
adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
You're running. That's what you live
Yeah.
for. Those are the calls, and those calls are only
That's all we
come
do.
around. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you live for it.
And in K9, we only go to the phone calls.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all. That's all I do. I don't take routine calls.
No, you're taking strictly business calls.
Yeah, lights and siren calls.
We're going, baby.
That's all we're doing. So it's a ton of fun, but it's just draining, like mentally, physically.
And you probably didn't realize that until
No,
you were
not
out.
until I got out. Not until I got out.
Yeah. So let's transition to when you were you left the sheriff's office. So go from there.
So like I said, I was doing the dog training stuff on the side. Once I made a decision to leave the sheriff's office, I went full time into that. I was working with another company, did that for about a year until my girlfriend and I decided we were going to bring back our current business, Paws on the Ground Dog Training. And we went full swing into that where we're the owners. We make the rules, all on us. So we've been doing that for last about 2 years.
Yeah, I remember talking. I think I was talking to you and Kenzie on the phone, and she was like losing it.
Yeah, it was scary.
It's extremely scary because you have that income. You guys were making great money doing what you guys love to do, but I mean, it's making that jump from guaranteed to who knows what's going to happen. And I'm like, you guys are going to kill it.
Yeah,
you're going to kill it. It's not it's not. It's just a matter of fact what's going to happen, and there's always that self doubt. And
Yeah.
we talked about self doubt last night a lot.
Mhm.
And look where you guys are at now. You guys have multiple branches. You guys are growing even bigger. It's I mean, honestly, almost getting another hand.
Yeah, right. I mean, we still run into it now. Like every time we're thinking about wanting to bring on new trainers or anything, we're like it's not the right time. Like we need to whatever get this and this set first, and there's just never a good time to do that kind of stuff. You have to.
There's never a good
You
time.
have to make the jump.
No, yeah.
You have to risk it for the biscuit and go.
Yeah,
you know.
if you wait for the exact perfect time
It's
in
not gonna
life
come.
to do things, you're waiting forever. It's never going to come to you.
That was one of the biggest things I learned when we started the business up, because we had talked about it for a long time until we actually made the jump to do it, and I was so happy we did. So
I'm
happy
you guys
we
did
did.
because look where you guys were
Yeah.
a year ago. Almost 2. You're coming up on 2 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you guys grew so much.
yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
So talk about Paws on the Ground. Tell us about your guys' business. So where are you guys based out of?
So right now, our main business is in St. Pete, Clearwater, Tampa, all those surrounding areas.
Florida, yeah.
Florida. We have one branch in North Carolina. All of them are doing very well. We just brought on 2 new trainers for
Kristen and Corey?
Yeah, Kristen and Corey for our St. Pete location.
Phenomenal
They're
dog trainers.
phenomenal. I love them to death.
Corey's a mountain of a man.
Oh God, he's literally the biggest person I've ever seen.
Jacked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bodybuilder, looks great.
Just
Is
dude,
great.
when you guys did like a promo like on your guys' Instagram, he's wearing like
Coveralls, yeah.
dude. Just looks like just a
Overalls, yeah.
yoked out farmer.
Sweetest guy you'll ever meet, though. Same
Oh.
with Kristen. Kristen is just a sweetheart. So
Good
But-
people.
couldn't be happier with having them working with us. They're absolutely fantastic, and they do a ton to help us. So we love that. And then Taylor is
Phenomenal.
She's the owner of our North Carolina location. Another phenomenal one. We've known her for a really long time.
Great dog handler.
Yeah. Just puts heart and soul into it. So
She's definitely passionate. From
Yeah.
what you guys told me, she's definitely a grinder.
yeah, she is. She's great. Everyone loves her. So
What's not to love?
right.
You guys are
So-
building definitely an empire right there, brother. I'm very happy
trying.
for you.
Trying. Hopefully, we'll get a couple more trainers out there. Get some like online subscription courses coming.
I was
and-
actually going to ask that question. So
Yeah.
since you're on Beyond the Dispatch, can we get a little sneak peek of the future? What do you guys have planned for the future? Is something you guys can talk about?
Yeah, so it's in the very early concepts, but we
Infancy
definitely want to
stage.
do some like subscription based training
There you go.
for some of the smaller problems, because there's a lot of people that they're like, hey, I just want to teach my dog how to get potty trained.
Right.
So we want to roll out some like training videos and stuff like that people can just subscribe to those and not necessarily have to send their dog to a board and train or anything like that. So the dog isn't coming and training with us for, a few weeks at a time. Instead, it's just something that they can do for the more hands-on people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that is something that's in the early process. That's something that we're looking forward to. Hopefully we'll get that out in the next year or so once we can get some training videos and
Love it, brother.
yeah.
I'm over the moon for you guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I mean, you guys come so far in just a short period of time. I can only imagine where you guys are going to be at in 10 years.
I hope. Yeah.
But-
It's been wild.
Before we sign off, tell me a little bit about your co-owner, Miss Kenzie.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about her?
So I've known Kenzie for a long time. We were in the Coast Guard together.
Yeah.
And then it's funny story because I didn't talk to her for about 4 years. I had no idea that she was even doing dog training stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I knew she had gotten out of the Coast Guard, but she was living up in Ohio. We reconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and I told her to come down for my canine graduation. She came down and never left. So when she was here, she moved moved down here, got a place, and then we moved in pretty quickly after that. And then the rest is history. Started working together. She was working at an aggression rehab kennel for
Mhm.
dogs that are like nuking people, biting everybody, that kind of stuff. So she was working there for a while. And then she started working with the company that we were working with before we started our own. And then
She's a phenomenal dog trainer.
Yeah, I've learned more from her than I've learned from just about anybody.
Oh,
Yeah, if she's great.
extremely knowledgeable.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and she's she's put her everything into it. So she's one of 500 to have a NEPOPO Gold certification,
Which is huge.
Yeah, she's the original. I mean, they are the Bart and Michael, the founders of it, are top of the world trainers.
Yeah.
And so she has the original certification that, like I said, there's only like 500 people that had. So to get that is wild.
That's no joke.
Yeah, it's like
That just speaks to what kind of person she is.
and because there's multiple courses that you have to do. There's just a knowledge portion, but then there's the practical portion too.
Mhm.
And when she was doing that, I mean, of course, she's going to go above and beyond. She didn't take one dog to the practical.
No, that's not who
portion.
she is.
No, she brought both of her dogs.
Of course.
And then so she had to do double the work that everybody else was doing. So because she had to teach it to 2 dogs rather than just one.
And both of her dogs are just phenomenal.
I love them. My Mufasa, he's my man.
She did a really good job training those dogs.
Oh yeah. Because those are her dogs. She did all the work on them. I just reap the benefits.
And the love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, brother,
So-
you have a beautiful, beautiful family. You have 2 beautiful girls. She has a beautiful girl that you love with all your heart, and all your girls you love with all your heart. You have a fucking wonderful business. You could probably pick better friends, I'm sure.
Ones that don't get shot. Make me fly up to Chicago.
Turn that beard gray.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Definitely, some of these are from you.
Oh
so.
God, I just hit the camera.
Is it good?
Oh, it was awful for a second. Sorry, folks.
We had a little technical difficulty, but I honestly I do appreciate you coming out here, man.
Love being here. Thank you.
Yeah, you called me. You're like, because we were gonna do your interview online. And you called me one day. You're like, I'm coming up to see you.
Our relationship, there's no way I could do that over the
No.
phone. This has to be an in-person thing.
Yeah,
And I need an excuse to come up here and see you. So.
Well, it means the world to me.
I appreciate
More than I could actually verbalize to you. I'm not one to.
You're gonna get super sappy on me.
Yeah, a little bit.
love you. I love you so much. You're my
But
best friend.
you've been there for me through a lot. You held my hand,
Yeah, I did.
sucked the blood out of my throat.
Suck the blood out of your throat.
It means a lot. I do appreciate you coming out and coming on the show.
Yeah. Happy
If there's
to be
anything you need from me, I'm always a call away, buddy. So we appreciate you guys listening to another beautiful episode with this nerd over here, getting all sappy. But, we do appreciate you coming out. We appreciate you guys listening. Like, subscribe, share. Carrie?
That's all I got. Thanks for coming up, man. We
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks for
Sorry you
having
had
me.
to fly Frontier to get up
Yeah,
here, but
right.
it
Yeah,
is
next
what it
time,
is.
upgrade. Do go Spirit.
Yeah, I should have.
Just do Spirit.
Oh yeah.
Take your life in your own hands,
I'll
brother.
just swim.
We'll catch you guys in the next
Swim.
one.
Yeah.
You're gonna swim the Mississippi.
Around.